My name is Coco Briseno, and I work with the California Department of Transportation, also known as Caltrans. My title there is Chief of the Division of Research, Innovation, and System Information. And essentially what that means is I'm the sort of research manager for the department for Caltrans, and then I also serve as the information manager. So those are the two duties that I have responsibility for. As a manager, obviously, as I said earlier, the biggest reward is just watching your team flourish and watching them solve the problems. And I think, especially in a state like California, where there's so much diversity, we really do get to touch all aspects. So we get to get involved in planning, in operations, in maintenance, the whole sort of life cycle of transportation. So that's rewarding to just solve problems in all of those areas and provide people basically solutions on how to do their job better. But one of my favorite, most rewarding projects that I worked on when I was a project manager, actually in the research area, I was tasked with trying to figure out how to ensure that the rural parts of California actually were taking advantage of new technologies. So most of the urban areas are very, robust in terms of and primed to take advantage of new technologies. But many of the rural areas, not so much. So I was tasked with leading a project or putting together a project from scratch to work with the rural part of Oregon. So I got to work and put together a project to plan for short, mid, and long term, up to 20 years, what would these two regions, these rural regions of California and of Oregon, what could they do collectively to be able to ensure that they're thinking about incorporating new technologies in their plans, programs, and then their ultimate investments. And so that was really rewarding to just see and bring, sort of the passion and the opportunity of new technologies to parts of California and even of Southern Oregon that hadn't considered them. So it was very rewarding. Some of the technologies are basically the use of electronics and communications as a bottom line. So for example, in rural areas, there are many curves on the freeway, and a lot of those don't lend themselves for clear of sight, and there's a lot of animal crossings as well. So we were able to look at what parts of the regions could actually use technologies to help detect animal crossings. So that was one example. Another example is there were particular curves along the freeway route that actually needed to really think about reducing the speed. So there were different technologies that were used to detect the speed of oncoming vehicles and then actually give notification to many of the travelers on what the appropriate or safer speed would be. So more of a warning system for travelers. When I was in junior high, I was really interested in studying more political science. That was sort of my area of interest. And so when I went to school, I really was going towards a business degree, and then realized that I just didn't want to do the statistics of it. So then I actually became very interested in understanding the behavior of organizations and the relationship between how you actually run an organization and the people that help you do that. So I actually went and changed my major and went into organizational leadership, which is really just the mix of those two disciplines of business and behavioral science.